Hello, hello, Stampers. Happy Wednesday. This is Barb Reed, the Wexford Stamper. Hello, Ann and Deb. Thanks for jumping on here this Wednesday evening. What a lovely day we had today. Such great weather. Hope everyone is doing okay. All right. What I'd like to do before we get started tonight is talk a little bit about the project and then talk a little bit about the products that we're going to be, I'm going to be using this evening. So if you saw my earlier blog post on Facebook, this is actually a stamp set that's been around for quite a while. It actually was first introduced in last year's mini catalog, and then we were lucky enough to have it placed in the annual catalog. And the name of the set is Celebrate Sunflowers. And this is the stamp set that goes with it. Some of you might recognize it. And it's beautiful, beautiful images, and the sunflower is just beautiful. And that's what we're going to be using tonight, the larger sunflower that's up there on the top left-hand corner. I'm going to be using some blends and giving you a couple hints on how to blend the colors together. And then there is a set of dies that come with it. And not only do they cut out the stamped images, and those are the ones that are across the top, it also has a couple of dies that overlay the leaf and the sunflower. So those are really great, and those I'm actually going to be using the overlay for the flower this evening as well, so you get a chance to see that. And I'm excited to share this with you. And the way I kind of updated it was I brought in that Gingham Cottage paper that's new in our new annual catalog, and I just thought that just matches perfectly. I have this one here, and then I'm working on some with the pumpkin pie as well. I haven't finished them yet, but here it is with the pumpkin pie paper as well, which matches great too, because what I do is I use the Daffodil Delight and the pumpkin pie blends on the flower, so that makes the paper blend in really nicely. So either of these papers would be perfect for this box. Okay, so as you know, we always have available, following my online Facebook Live, there will be a downloadable PDF on my blog, giving you all the dimensions and all the products I use, and I even make sure there is a little picture of the template there to give you an idea of what it should look like. So this is available. As soon as I conclude this tonight, I will put this on my blog. All right, and now I'd just like to do a little commercial. Just finished up my October card kit, and thank you for all those that participated. And you guys always know that I do the card kits at the end of the month. Well, the end of this month is going to fall right into the Thanksgiving holiday. So what I've decided to do is move it a week ahead and make it December 2nd. That's a Friday as well. And that will be my last kit for the year. All right, so there won't be one this month, but then we're going to be having the December one the first week of December, just to get it out of the way and don't have anything too close to the holidays because we're all crazy then. So this is the one for December. I will be using the Awash in Beauty suite. Let me grab my catalog here. I'm actually using something from the annual catalog. I've been using all those Christmas sets, so it's fun to go back to the new larger catalog, and it is on page 66 and 67 in this annual catalog. Just gorgeous, gorgeous paper, wonderful sentiments. And here I'll show you the cards that are going to be in the kit. Again, you'll make 15 of each card, and along with the paper and the die cuts, you will get pearls as well as a Wink of Stella pen. And I was looking around for my Wink of Stella pen and I can't find it. So I'll try to show it to you next time, but it is a glitter pen that's like liquid glitter in a pen. So it's wonderful. You can add it. I put a little bit on all the flowers on my cards, but here's one. This is a great one that shows off all the paper. This one shows off some of the really pretty background dies. And this shows how each of those pieces is cut out using the die that comes with it. And these are pieces out of the Designer Series paper. Just so, so pretty. I just love these colors. And these cards kind of have the theme of friendship. I thought that was a great way to wind up the year. So thankful and grateful for all my Stampin' friends here. So these are all cards that you could send to a friend for all different occasions. So beautiful, beautiful paper. And you'll have enough materials to make 15 cards with envelopes. And then I've added as well a cute little fabric drawstring bag that you can put all the cards and envelopes in if you like and give it to somebody, or you can keep it yourself and just keep your cards in there. So everybody will get this pretty drawstring bag as well in their kits. So if you haven't already let me know, please let me know when you can. I'd like to have that done by the second week of December so I can get, not December, November, so I can get all those products and get things put together for the first weekend in December. So, all right, we've talked about the PDF, so we're ready to move on. All right, let's bring in our box. This is what we're going to be making this evening. It has the belly band on it, so it's an easy close, no magnets or anything. And in here, I have a pack of honey roasted sunflower seeds. Isn't that cute? I found these on Amazon, and if you look on my blog, there is a link there to the product on Amazon. Not expensive at all. They're a really, really cute gift that fits in perfectly, and there's plenty of room in there if you want to add something else or maybe add a gift card or something. But this is a really quick make and so pretty. Okay, I love the addition of the outline die for the sunflower, and I did this one with the gold foil paper, and I just think it's so pretty, so stunning. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to start with the treat box first. And what's fun about this one is you're going to start with a piece of crumb cake measuring 8.5 by 11. And that's basically the size of a piece of cardstock. So you know cutting to start, which is kind of fun. So we start at 8.5 by 11. And we're going to go ahead and put that right here on my, let's move that over so we have some space here. Going to put the long side on top, and we're going to go ahead and score on the long side at 3.5, 4.5, 8, 9. Okay, 3.5, 4.5, 8, and 9. Then we're going to turn it to the short side, which is the 8.5 side, and we're going to score at 1 inch on each side. So I'm just going to turn it all the way to the other short side and do 1 inch. So we have a 1 inch panel on each edge here. Okay, all right, that is all we need for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and score my belly band as well. Okay, this belly band is 9 9/16, just 1 tick past 9.5 and 2 inches wide. And you're going to score at 2 and 3 and then spin it all the way around so the opposite long side's up there, and do 2 and 3 again. Okay, and that is all the scoring for this. Pretty simple. Like to keep it simple. Let's work on the box first. Okay, I'm going to grab my bone folder here, and I'm going to nicely crease all my score lines. This is a really great thing to do with your bone folder because it gives you nice, crisp corners on your box, which makes assembling them a lot easier. Okay, so there we go. We have all our score lines creased. All right, let's go ahead and start cutting. Now you'll notice here, this one has a larger panel on the top and the bottom is smaller. We're gonna focus on this one first. This is gonna be the part that flips over the front flap. Let me grab this quick. It's this part right here we're gonna focus on first. Okay, so I'm going to grab my scissors here, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to cut up both vertical score lines. Okay, we got one here, we got one here. We're going to cut up through the first score line to the second. Okay, now we're not going to cut off the entire thing. We're still going to cut off at the lower horizontal score line, and then we're going to create our tab with the top part there. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing over here. Go up vertically to the second horizontal, slide down and cut off at the first horizontal, and then we're going to wedge a little bit to make those flaps there. Okay, so that's 2. Okay, so now we're going to spin it the other way. Actually, we're not. We're going to spin it to the landscape side. And we're just going to go ahead and cut up the 2 verticals to the first horizontal and create the flap there. Spin it to the other side. Cut up the horizontal, up the vertical to the first horizontal, and then take the little wedges out. And that's it. That is all the cutting we need to do. Okay, I like to do my little corner rounding, so I'm going to grab my corner rounder. Now this one is no longer available with Stampin' Up, but you can get a corner rounding punch at a craft store or on Amazon. They're really handy to have. They make your packages and boxes and cards look a little nicer. So I went ahead and I went back to the flap end and I rounded both of those corners. Okay, then I'm going to grab my Designer Series paper. Okay, remember I told you this was from the Gingham Cottage Designer Series paper. If you remember, I used this back last month when we were working on our Halloween projects. And I told you that it is very versatile and we'll be able to use it all the way up through the end of the year. Well, now we're using it for Thanksgiving, and I'm sure I'll use it for some Christmas projects as well as Easter when we get into spring, because these are the colors that we have in this paper. It's just color palettes that can go through the entire year. You see the reds and the greens for Christmas, and then the more pastel colors we can use for the spring coming up. So it's just a really, really great pack of paper. All right, so these pieces, let me grab my PDF here. These are cut at, these two are at 3 1/4 by 6 1/4. We have two of those, the front and back of the box. And then for the flap, we have 1 3/4 by 6 1/4. Okay, I'm going to take this one here, and again, I'm going to round two of the corners on the paper, since that's going to be placed right on the panel that already has rounded corners. So let's turn our box over. And you guys know that I like to put the paper on if I can before I assemble, because you can get a better seal with your glue because you can push down a little more. If you try to push too hard, once your box is made, sometimes you can crunch it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my smaller panel here right on the flap of the box. Okay, and notice here we have the two rounded ends with the two rounded, the rounded DSP ends. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and place the larger pieces on the two larger panels of the box. Okay, so let's slide it down here a little bit. And those are going to fit right on there. I just love this crumb cake and this gingham together. So fall-like, really, really pretty. Okay, then we're going to put the last one on here. Okay, so there's all our paper ready to go. Pretty easy, huh? Now these two flaps up here are not going to get any adhesive. Those just fold in when we close the box. So we just kind of focus on these two flaps here. So I'm going to grab my glue again, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on both of these tabs. Then I'm going to pick up my box and I'm going to glue them on to the panel that's closer to the flap. Okay, so I'm going to close this and glue it to the panel that's closer to the flap. So this one's going to kind of just hang here until I get these two flaps down with the panel that's closest to our flap. Okay, now the reason we do that is because we want to fold this one up last so that we have nice folded edges showing on the front of our box. I know, I love this gingham too, Cheryl. It's so pretty. Okay, so now we have the tabs adhered to the back portion of the box. So we're going to take a little more of the glue and we're going to put it along these longer side panels here. And then we're just going to fold it up, and then we're going to just fold them over the sides. Okay, you want to make sure they line up right along the edge. And just hold it for a minute. Now see, since we did that last, we have that nice fold at the front of the box. Okay, so there are our sides all down, and then we have these flaps are just going to close before we put the flap down. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to grab our pack of sunflower seeds. honey roasted sunflower seeds. We're going to stick those in there, close that up, and now we're going to grab our piece that is our belly band, and we're going to go ahead and take our bone folder again, crease those score lines, bring in our box, and now we're going to put that on there. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to lay the box on top of the belly band. Okay, and you want to bring it around just like the folds are kind of showing you. And then what I like to do with belly bands, since they take a lot of tugging, I'm going to grab my tear and tape for this. Okay, this is some two-sided tape that comes in handy for a lot of these 3D projects. And I'm going to grab my pick tool, get the paper off the front of that, and then I'm going to fold it carefully, bring this down, and then that will adhere on top. So there we have it. Now we don't have to worry that this line is on the front because we're going to be covering that with our sunflower. So if you do it the other way, then you're going to have that on the seam on the back. But if you put the seam on the front and then you cover it with your embellishment, then nobody sees it. So that's a trick I learned a long time ago. All right, now let's talk about our embellishment for the front. Now, what I'm using here is the stamp for the large stamp for the sunflower, okay? And I'm also going to be using the stamp for this leaf, okay? So I stamped the sunflower in black Memento ink, and then I cut it out using the die, the coordinating die. Let me show you these dies here. This is the die that cuts out the sunflower, and then this is the die I'm going to use to put the overlay on, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. This is the die that I used to cut out my stamped leaves. Okay, so these are the dies that you get with this set. Okay, all right, now let's talk a little bit about how I colored. I didn't do a whole lot of fancy coloring. I just kind of grabbed colors out of my blends that I thought would work, and I kind of played around a little bit. And what I found to work the best was the dark Daffodil Delight and the dark Pumpkin Pie and Crumb Cake. Those are the three that I used. Now, it's really up to you what you'd like to use, but these are the ones I found that I liked the best. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill in my center. And if you look at this stamped image, you can see there are little tiny dots all around on that middle of that flower. And that makes it really, really easy to color in, because just one pass with the, what is this? This is the dark Crumb Cake. And it already shows shadowing just because of those little dots there. So I really didn't do much than just color this in, color in my center with the dark Crumb Cake. And those little dots kind of help with the shadowing. So I just kind of colored that in. I didn't do anything fancy at all. Okay, then I'm going to grab my dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to use the brush tip. I think I might not have said that. There's two ends to each of the blends. One is a bullet point, and that's when you're coloring smaller spaces that you need a smaller tip. But when you're trying to cover larger spaces, you want the larger brush tip, and that's what I'm going to use. And all I really did with the brush tip was go over all the leaves. Nothing fancy. Just kind of going over and filling in the leaves. Now I'll be back and doing a little more, but this was my first step. I just went through with the blend and colored the majority of the petals, not the leaves, the petals, right? Got to get my botany right here. So I'm coloring in the petals, just trying my best to fill in all the white area. Okay. So pretty easy so far. Not particularly following any certain lines on the images or anything, just filling in. It's a lot of space to be filled in. Okay, then once I finish that, I turn it to the bullet side, and this is when I really kind of fill in the tips. This gives you a little more control on where it's going, and it fills it in a little better than using your brush tip. So I'm just going around again and filling in the tips of all those petals. Okay, looking good here. Turn it a little more. And I'm still not really doing a lot of, I'm actually doing no shading, just filling in as much as I can with the Daffodil Delight Dark. Okay, it looks like I'm pretty well covered now. Okay, now don't worry too much about what's around the middle yet, because we're going to be adding some of the pumpkin pie now. Okay, I pulled out the dark pumpkin pie. I tried it with the light, and I really felt like it looked better with the dark. And I'm actually going to use the brush tip here, and I'm going to start at the inside of the flower, right by the center, and just kind of brush out and create a little band of color around the center of the sunflower. Okay, just making a little band of color, just like that. Then I'm going to go back to my dark Daffodil Delight, brush tip, and now I'm going to go over that pumpkin pie area, especially the edge that touches the Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to kind of go up and down over it with my brush tip to try to get it to blend a little bit. So what it does, it softens the line between the two colors and gives it a more realistic look. I love the sunflowers that have a little bit of orange in the center. I think they're just so beautiful. And that's it. That is how easy that is. And look how beautiful that is. See how nicely that blends? Oops, get my hand in the right spot. There we go. So simple. Very, very easy. All right, so let's go ahead and do our last bit of stamping. We need our little strip of, oh, let's talk about these first. Now, I also stamped and die cut these out before my Facebook Live. What I did here is these are two of the leaves. I stamped the leaves on Pear Pizzazz paper, cardstock, with Pear Pizzazz ink. And then I took the die that comes with the set and I cut them out. So here is the die. Okay, there's the die. And this is the stamp that I used right there. Okay, and we have two of those. So those are stamped and ready to go. So the last thing we have to do is stamp the sentiment. Okay, and I used a 1/2 inch strip of basic white. And I just chose one of the sentiments from this set. And I used the Memento ink since that was out. And I picked Thanks a Bunch. And let's see if I can get it on here in a good spot. That's pretty good. I'll take it. Okay. And then the last thing I did, I want to show you a few of these. I cut out, using the overlay die, which is this one here. Okay. I used some foil paper. Now I had a couple of different types of foil paper that I used. These are the two that I have. This is a gold. I used with the gold foil, which is really, really pretty. But also the copper foil is really pretty. So it really, really, you know, whatever you like to use, but it really adds a lot of interest to it if you have some kind of foil overlay on it. I'm going to stick with the gold since that was the one I had for my sample. All right, I think we have everything ready to go ahead and place our embellishments on our box. First thing we're going to do is place our sunflower. Let me grab my dimensionals. And I'm going to put 3 dimensionals right on the box, right in the center of the belly band. I'm going to remove the backs, and then we're going to just go ahead and place this right on the front. Okay, so there we go. Next, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the overlay. This one is cut using the gold foil paper. For this one, you want to use a little bit of the liquid glue, not too much, and just around the center. And then you're going to lay it down here. Okay, now this has a certain way. There we go. You want to match it up so that the outline is going over the petals. So there you see how that looks. Isn't that so, so pretty? I'm trying to get it to sparkle a little bit. But it's really nice, really pretty. Okay, then we're going to grab our 2 little leaves here. And this is a real easy way to do it. You just put a little bit of glue at the base of each of the leaves. And then, my fingers will pick them up. You just kind of slide them under the flower and then just press down a little bit and it sticks right to the flower. Okay, slide under the flower but over the belly band and then press down, and there you have your 2 leaves on there. Really simple. Okay, now last part is our sentiment here. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and make a little flag here on this end, a banner flag. You don't have to do that if you just want to put it on with a straight edge. And then all I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue towards the left-hand side of the banner and then lay it flat down right on top of the flower. No need for any dimensionals here. We're just going to put it right on top of the flower. Okay? Last thing, I'm going to grab a piece of the linen thread. Linen thread is another great thing to have on hand for your fall projects. I made a little double bow. I'm going to go ahead and grab my glue dots for this one. Gonna go ahead and place my bow on a glue dot. I'm going to place it right where the knot is. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab my pick tool again and pick it up right under the glue dot, just like that. And I'm going to place it, let me see how I did the other one. Yep, I did put it to the left-hand side here, right at the bottom corner of the banner, just like that. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that just such a great box for a fall gift? I just think it's lovely, lovely. So that is my tutorial for this evening. Thanks so, so much for joining me. Next week, I'm going to stick with the sunflower stamp set and dies, and we're going to make a card. Now, this card is called a pop-out card, using the same paper as well, and then we pop out on the inside. This, you can put a sentiment here, and then you can write your name here or put another sentiment, but this is called a pop-out card. So I'm going to share with you how to make these kind of cards next week. So tune back in, and this would be a great combination for a gift if you have something you want to give to somebody in the fall. So tune in next week for the pop-out card. And till I see you again, have a wonderful week and enjoy the nice warm weather in the next few days. I think might be the last of it that we get. So have a wonderful week and weekend, and I'll see you next Wednesday. And don't forget to keep on stamping. Bye-bye now.